Hi, I'm Shannon Rollins with Shannon Rollins Real Estate. During the month of May, I've dedicated myself to talking about how the National Association of Realtors settlement is going to impact buyers, sellers, buyer's agents, and listing agents. Today, I'm talking specifically about how it likely will impact buyers. The biggest change is going to be now that when a buyer wants to see a home, they're going to have to sign a buyer agency agreement prior to seeing homes. And in this agreement with the agent, it will indicate what they're going to be paid, how they're going to be paid, and when they are to be paid. The listing agent will no longer be putting in a listing contract what the seller is willing to pay for a buyer agent to bring an agreeable contract. So a buyer now is going to have to determine this with their agent prior to even looking at homes. Most sellers are still probably going to budget to pay this in their mind, and when they are meeting with their listing agent, they are going to probably discuss what is the fee that would likely need to be paid so that I can prepare for that as a seller. So some buyer options could be, well, I'm a buyer, I do have cash, I can pay you to help me through this process, and this is the amount I'm going to pay. Or it could be, I'm getting a loan and I cannot afford to pay any buyer agent fee over what I'm already having to bring for my closing costs and my down payment. So instead, I only want to look at homes where a seller is willing to pay the buyer agent fee. And that means that that buyer agent now is going to have to reach out to listing agents to say, is your seller willing, if we bring an acceptable contract, to pay X fee? There's also the compromise. A buyer might be willing to pay a part of the fee and have the seller pay a part of the fee also. So all that has got to be negotiated up front between the buyer and the buyer agent. This is going to be so critical now. Buyers need to be selective on their buyer agent they are choosing to represent them. They need somebody skilled, experienced, full-time that can guide them and do the very best for their client, just as a listing agent does for their seller. At Shannon Rollins Real Estate, our agents do a lot for their buyers. They help determine what buyers can really buy. And then we help them evaluate what type of loan programs are out there that might make most sense for them, given their particular situation. We help get them to our preferred lending partner. And then we help them determine areas that they maybe haven't considered that might be a good match for them. And when we're in the home, because we are looking at so many homes ourselves, we're able to point out things, flaws that maybe a buyer wouldn't have noticed. Then when it comes time to write contracts, we are thinking about those things. It's not just about price. It's about the price, plus maybe there's some things we've identified in the house we might need to negotiate some allowance for. We might need to ask for closing costs. We need to get the closing date that's going to work best for our buyer's situation. There's a whole lot to negotiate through there. And then once we're under contract, we help guide through the due diligence process. And then once we get through the inspections, we have to negotiate repairs. And then we get us through the closing process. So there's a lot involved that a buyer agent does that sometimes people forget about. Buyers need to identify a buyer agent that is going to work on their behalf. Super experienced. I can tell you our buyer agents go through an extensive training program. So they become very, very experienced. Identifying a buyer agent that is really, really experienced, full-time, working on your behalf, that can really be a benefit to you is so important now. If you have questions about this, give me a call. My team and I are on standby 7 days a week, ready to help you take the smoother road to sold. And if you need to review any of the videos about this, in addition to hundreds of other videos I have, they're all on my website at shannonr.com.